Recently on the channel, we've been covering a lot about white balance, getting white balance right in camera, understanding why auto white balance is a bad move for most of us. But in this video, I'm going to give you a literal, scientifically proven cheat code to get absolutely perfect white balance in post-production. Hello there, I'm Dave, and this is Let's Click Photography, a place where we master the technicals so we can free ourselves as creatives. And part of that is not just learning how to do something, but it is understanding why we do something. And so before we get to what the code is and how to dial it in, we have to understand why it works every single time you do it, because it's a cheat code that we'll input into post-production, but actually it's the very DNA of light itself. And as we know, light is the raw ingredient of photography. I've got a camera set up and a couple of whiteboards. I've also got some flashes ready to go as well. What I'm going to do with these flashes, I'm going to attach some colored gels. If I flash each of these flashes individually, you're going to see that what we end up with is the color that is attached to each flash. So as you can see, we've got our three lights, three colored gels, three different colors coming out. And if I turn on, say, flash A, which is the red, alongside B, which is the green, we get a kind of yellowish kind of color coming through. Now, what may surprise you is what happens when I turn on all three flashes at the same time. What color would you expect for us to get? Well, let's take that shot. Now, this is one of the secrets of light. It's the secrets of how our cameras work. And understanding this means that we can now transfer that knowledge through into our post-processing. Because if we know that red, green, and blue in equal amounts will always give us white, then we know exactly how to dial in our white balance in post-production. This is the cheat code for white balance in post-production. And so now that we know how we get there, I'm going to show you how to transfer that knowledge into Lightroom. And I've got this image here which has been perfectly white balanced. We see that our bride is wearing a lovely white dress. So we're going to set our white balance for the white dress on the bride. And if we hover here and look into the top right where we can see our histogram, we're going to see that it's got some numbers underneath the histogram. These are called the RGB values. Like I say, you can see these in a lot of decent processing software. Here in Lightroom, they're under the histogram, and you can see that we've got R, which is for red, G, which is for green, and B, which is for blue, which coincidentally match the colours that we popped onto our flashes before, because those three colours were mixed together perfectly, make white. And those values there are measured as a percentage. And you can see that in this photograph, they are absolutely spot on perfect. That white is as white as it can possibly be, because red, green, and blue are perfectly mixed to give us white. So let's look at a wedding photo that I recently took. I've got my white balance as shot at the time, and I was shooting under artificial light as it was night and I wouldn't have had any light on them otherwise. So I'd set my white balance to 5250, which tends to match my flash output. And I'm just gonna quickly check this white balance. I know that he was wearing a white shirt, so I'm just going to hover on this area of his shirt, and we can see our values are, we've got a red of 84.5%, a green of 86%, and a blue of 86.7%. So it is not a million miles away. What we want in a perfect world would be have all of those absolutely equal. That can take some time though, so what gives us scientifically proven white is within 1% of each other, and as close as, damn it, as possible. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, I'm going to hit temp, I'm going to come back over here, and whenever we move, we're going to see those values change. So we've got 83.6 with the red, up to 85.6 in the blue. So I've got a 2% difference there. I want to get that difference between those to within 1% of each other. And what that means is that I need more red I'm going to do that by moving the temperature slider from the blues and increase that warmth slightly. So as we start moving across, you'll see the blues come down. You see all of these numbers move, and where we want to get to is a point where within 1% of each other, or as near as, damn it, that'll do. And I'm just going to decrease my greens by increasing the tint slider into the magenta. And by doing that now, I've brought everything within 0.6 of a percentage point. That is as near as, damn it, and we can see the difference by going from the as shot white balance there, which is quite cool, to back to where we've just set it to, warms it up a little bit and gives us those perfect whites on Neil's shirt there. Now, I know you may be thinking, well, Dave, this is all well and good when you're doing wedding photography. What about us landscape photographers? Well, let's just take a look at how I deal with that. So I quite often don't carry this around. I happen to have it in my bag on this occasion, but occasionally I'll have my colour temperature checker. You don't need anything as fancy as this. You're going to use a white piece of paper. I've done videos about that in the past. I quite often carry around a small piece of card, white card, that I just take a photograph of in the light. But you can see here, I've got my perfectly perfect white. Bottom left, this is attached to a fence that is in a field that I'm about to photograph. And I've got my perfectly perfect white. Take a shot of that. I'm going to use that there for my white balance. And you can see with the numbers in the top right corner there, I've got red 90.2, green 90.1, blue 90.2, perfectly perfect white balance. Happy with that. And that, I would then use that, which is a colour temperature of 5650 with a tint of plus 25. I would then balance that across all of the images that I then take in that series of shots that I'm going to do. Being able to decipher light is the key ingredient necessary to be a fantastic photographer, because light is photography. I harp on about it all the time, but I hope this has gone some way to help to prove that to you. I've been Dave. This has been Let's Click Photography, and I'll see you guys on the next one pretty damn soon. Bye.